Okay, so the last sugya we left off with was what, Eid Zaymim, before the summer, and now we're going to start off with the next sugya, a brand new sugya. So the Gemara says, Mumar Chavzayin Amid Aleph, Mumar Oichel Nevelis L'Teyavin, Divrei Akol Pasel. You have a person who eats non-shechted meat, treif, nevelis, but he eats it l'teyavim. So then the Gemara says, that is indisputable, that everyone agrees is pasel le'edus. Zakt Rashi, Mumar achol nevelis l'teyavim divrei akol pasel, de kevan de mishum momen ka'avid, da shchicha bezolt vei, midetera, havale karasha de chamas pasel le'edus. The emes says, let's come back to this Rashi in a second. Let's understand the context of Rashi. So Zok the Gemara, Mumar al nochal nevelis l'teyavin divrei akol pasel, lahachis Abaye Amar pasel, Rava Amar kosher. What if a person doesn't eat nevelis l'teyavin, but rather a person eats nevelis lahachis? A person could do averis very nogeya to Chedesh El to learn this limud. A person could do averis for many different reasons. Most of the time, a person is doing averis because he has a taiva, because he has a teyavon, because of the Yetzer Hara. Rachmana litzlan nebuch, sometimes you have a person who's doing things lahachis. He doesn't have a drive, he doesn't have a Yetzer Hara, and afal pichin is doing the avera. So then the question is he pasal la'edus? So it's l'chara akasha, because it should be worse. Of course he's pasal la'edus. What do you mean that is his taiva? To be lahachas. I don't know if that's a taiva. It could be that he's just a non-believer. He's not. Taiva usually is associated with a drive, with human nature, with the fact that we have a tendency to do things. To be stam, if you gain nothing, you have no benefit, and you afal pichin do an avera, there's some sort of anger, and but I don't know necessarily if I would call that l'teyavon. I wouldn't necessarily call that a drive, because of a taiva. So why is that relevant? So the answer is, it's not necessarily that you're more kosher in terms of your averus, but in terms of hilchos edus, Rava says Abaye Amar pasel, Rava Amar kosher. So the Gemara explains what is the machlekes about a mumar who does averus lahachis. What is that about? Again, this is not, and we're going to have to understand why it's not, but it's not connected to a drive, it's not connected to a taiva. So since it's not connected to a taiva, according to Rava, that's lacking. According to Abaye, it's not lacking. Why? Zok the Gemara, Abaye Amar pasel d'avale rasha. Abaye says, doesn't matter. At the end of the day, the Torah says, what's the lashon of the pasuk? We don't have it here. Anyone, where do we have it? Anyone have the Al Tashish Rasha Eid Lios Eid Chamas, right? Where's the? Oh, it is there. Oh, good. Losisa Shem Hashav Al Tashish Yadchem Rasha Lios Eid Chamas. So the Torah says Al Tashish Yadchem Rasha, and any Maisa Avera that you're a Rasha for, right? That you get Malchus for, and you're considered a Rasha. So that is sufficient to pasel you for Eidus as well. Rachmana Amar al Tashish Rasha Eid. Whatever is categorized as a Rasha is pasel Eidus, says Abaye. So you need a Maisa Rishus, that's it. So a guy who eats non-kosher, that's a Maisa Rishus. You get Malchus for that. V'Rava Amar kosher. Rava says no, it's not sufficient for you to do a Maisa Rishus. It's not sufficient for you to just get Malchus, says Rava, but rather you're kosher if you do lahachis. Why? Because there's no drive rasha de chamas ba'inan. Since the Torah went on to say, al tashes yadchem rasha liyos eid chamas, so the Torah was clarifying that you need a specifically rasha de chamas. And a mumar that eats nevelis, non-kosher, lahachis, just despite the Rebbeinu Shalom, that's not chamas. That's not based on a drive. That's based on some sort of other issue that this person has. It is a Maisa Rishus, but that's insufficient to invalidate a person for Psul Eidus. Havadi is going to get Malchus. Rava agrees you're going to get Malchus, but you're not going to have the effect of the Maisa Rishus to be Psul Eidus. So now let's go back to that Rashi. who says principle makes a difference? Maybe we just care about a person who's going to give in to drives. I'm not going to necessarily give him after yoina. I'm not going to respect him. But if he has testimony in the court and we need it, what invalidates him? So Abaye says the pasuk invalidates him. What he did is a ma'aser rishus, and he can't be in the parsha of Eidus. Rava says that's not what the pasuk says. Rava says it says Rasha Dechamas. So you're right. He's not a great guy.
So
he's going to get malchus.
But he's not. So we're basically saying that the fact that his actions are lahakis, so he's not. He's not making a conscious decision of what his actions are.
No, I think he is making a conscious decision, so and in Klape Shmaya, he's going to have to pay the price. But in Dinei Bezdin, that's not necessarily relevant in terms of the halachas of Eidus that we need to function with in the civilized court.
So am I nafkamina between someone who's doing lahachas or not? We want someone who's not necessarily thinking about.
Meaning, why would Rasha Dechamas be worse? So let's see. Excellent. So let's see. Excellent. Oh, excellent. Beautiful. Zogt Rashi, Mumar oichal neveis l'te'oven, divrei Yaakov Pasel, de kevon de mishum ka'ovid, since he's doing it for monetary reasons, a monetary drive. What monetary drive? Oh, so Rashi adds in that ukimpta. Rashi adds in what? I know the prices over here. This guy is in a situation that what? McDonald's costs less than Food Showcase, and that's why he goes to McDonald's. The kevon, the mishumomen ka'avid, the ashchicha bezo, because there are McDonald's everywhere. So that's a Rasha Dechamas. What? Te'avon means is that I have a drive. I have a drive to make money. Right? So I think Itai is 100% right. I'm giving a hard time, but I think he's 100% right. Let me ask you the following situation, Rabbi say. Summer vacation. Okay, no one's around. The chever's not right. You're not in your hometown. You're not in Young Israel. We're outside in, I don't know, Utah, right? And there's just no kosher food there. Okay? Zok the Rashash. Lefi Rashi, in such a matzav, you're kosher le'edus. Lefi Rava. Because, it's not because I'm saving money. It's just because there's just nothing else around. So that's not litei avon, according to Rashi. It has to be saving money. But the Rashash points out that l'choira, let's see the Rashash. It's in the back, behind the Maharsha, the Yalkut Mefarshim. All right, I'll start without you. Mashma dim eino ochol rak hecha de eino moitza klal de tera kosher. If he's only eating because he's in the middle of Utah, it's not motzui. So then, according to Rashi Lefi Rava, it would be kosher. Utamua, frek the Rashash, it's a pella. De bechol mokum b'shas. Perish im eino moitza de tera. Perish what? Eino moitza de tera. Ein reish chulin. V'oid liflagu b'leteyav and gufet. Zok the Rashash, you should have a distinction in the Gemara even within litei avon. Which means what? There could be a litei avon. That's what? That's because of saving money. And then there could be a litei avon just because there's nothing else around that you're still kosher. And you don't find that the Gemara makes those distinctions. V'dochak lomer de be'eno motza klal gam la'abai kosher. Umiloshon harif va'arosh she'takti le'el mashma gamkein. Da afilu eino moitze klal, exactly like Ita was saying, Posel, de kemoishe taivas habosar ma'aviroso aladas, kein tavirenu chemdas hamomin. Zok the Rashash, this Rashi is a chiddush, but it has nothing to do with chemdas momin, But Rashi says, and you don't have to link the Mumar Ochel Nevelis because it's a lower price, even if it's an equal price, but McDonald's is tastier, Zok the Rif, that taiva, to have that treif, is a raya that you're a Mumar that gives into your taiva. Such a person is going to lie if he's paid off as an aid. And if he has any interest to be a shakran, he's going to lie. So the pashtus is, okay, so we have Machloikes, Rashi, and the Rif about what is L'te'ov and L'fei Rava. But however you slice it, L'chora, what you said is 100% correct, is that there is some sort of chash mishaker over here. That the reason why you can't just be a Rasha, says Rashi, that according to Rava, you need a Rasha, the Chamas, because you need some sort of chash sheker, and that's why we specifically single out a Rasha, the Chamas, either that's directly linked to money, according to Rashi, or according to the Rif, the fact that you give in to your drive for good non-kosher meat is now going to be indicative of the fact that you're going to lie for monetary purposes in court as well.
What's the connection? I don't understand. If he buys meat, treifah meat because it's cheap, so I understand that he's subject to doing other things in order to make a buck. If he's hungry and there's nothing else to eat and he eats treif, why is that? Why do I have to be choshesh that he's going to lie?
Self-control.
It's one aspect. It's like
okay, good. You're right. Saying that l'chayra, that could be Rashi's argument, right? But the Rif l'chayra held that a Rasha Dechamas is a person that doesn't have self-control, and often you'll find, like Rashi has al Torah all the time, you start in one area, you start in Shvius, you start not giving Trumas and Maisris. What are you going to end up doing? You're going to end up seven nisyonis later. You're going to end up Ovid Avodah Zarah. So the roof is not. One Avera Geres Avera. So the bottom line, you're 100% right. According to Rashi, it's a much cleaner, connection. But according to the Rif, l'chayra, the answer is this person has no self-control. So just like he has no self-control in the issues of kashrus, so he extends it to the areas of chash sheker for psula edus for mammon as well. Yeah.
And so the Rif is not saying it's necessarily just the case where he's getting it because it's cheaper.
No.
Just because he has
right.
a type.
Even if it's the same exact value, the Rif would say it's still just because of a taiva.
So ironically, then Murahachas is principled, or is the machlokas even there?
So now, what's with Mumar Lahachas? So not only is what I want to ask, what's with Mumar Lahachas, but this is relevant la'alocha, because Rabbi said we paskin like. Ironically, as we pointed out in the last sugya, this is the second case, the mem of Yalkagam. We paskin, the Gemara is going to say in the end of the Gemara, after we go through the Gemara says, V'hilchus ha'ka'abaye, that mumar oichel nebeis lahachis is pasal edus. Even if it's not l'tei oven, this is one of the 6 cases that we paskin like Abaye against Rav. So we need to analyze Abaye. So once we paskin that all psulei edus, all Russias, any person that doesn't have Avera, that's Chayav Malchus, is going to be Pasal Edus, even if it's not for a drive, even if it's not for a Taiva. So then we need to discuss, so what is the machlokes between Abaye and Rav? So, if you look at the Nemuki Yosef sheds a little light into this question of what is Shitas Abaye. Find it in here because I saw it in a different tfus. Here. If you see in the Oz V'Hadar Gemaras, it's on Yudalid in whatever dapim they are, but in the Dapi Arif, it's Heyam and Beis going on to Vavam and Aleph. It's Dir Maskal L'Teyavon. He quotes V'Talmuda Pasuk Abaye. Everyone with me? It's important for us to see this inside because we're going to see there's a lot to talk about in this Nemuki Yosef. If you have the Oz V'Hadar, it's the corner of Yudalid. Okay? I believe in that one it was. You have it? Where is it?
It's on Ham base,
Okay.
probably about 13, 14 lines up.
Okay, so Zok ben Mukesef. Talmud pasuk Abai the lo ba'in Rosh Chamas. We paskin like Abai that we don't need a Rosh Chamas. Ulabai lo yav time mishum da avera ka'avid who el time da Abai mishum da Rasha who. It's not just because you did an avera. Proof is that not every avera apostles me for edus, right? It has to be the avera that makes you into a Rasha. The Rasha of Rachmana apostle edus chsiv al toshes Rasha eid. Aval ba'alma, listen to what the Nemug Yosef says. Aval ba'alma, b'shari surim, deloy shayach edus, da'afilu eid echod kosher, bahem, va'afilu isha, leka lemifsali. What is this, Yud? Gavaldik. He quotes in all the Pilpul here. Okay, great. Let's read that again. Aval ba'alma, outside of what Abai is talking about. Bishari surim, in other areas of Isser v'Heter. Deloy shayach edus, that there is no need for edus. Da'afilu eid echad kosher behem, va'afilu isha, leka lemifsali. Where other psulim are nemon, and even in isha, there is no psul according to Abai. So what does that mean? So came along the Ktos HaChoshen that you have on your Mekorah sheet, in Simin Mum Vav, in Sif Cotton Yud Zayin, and he makes this Nemuki Yosef, he publicizes Nemuki Yosef. Shulchan Aruch, I think it got cut off. Let me read the Psak of the Shulchan Aruch. Shulchan Aruch says as follows. Chosam b'shtar, a person signs a document as an aid. Koidim shenasa gazlan, before he became a gazlan, vinasa gazlan, and then there was edus that he was a gazlan. Eino yochel lahoid. What's with the shtar? The shtar was before it was announced that he was a gazlan. So he can't come in and say Eino yochel lahoid al ksav yodo. He can't say, oh yeah, that's my signature and I'm good, and that document's good, and help out his friend. If others testify and approve his signature, and they approve his signature before he's a gazlan, then it's kosher. Good. Says the Ksos in Sifkot Yud Zayin, V'chein adin be'ed zayim, v'kotz v'atois, yesh l'stapik, im nifsal b'shar avir she'eno chomas, im nifsal b'kach, ad kan l'shono. What does he mean? What is this suffix? V'hainu mishum, there are two types of Roshas. Hainu mishum, the Rosha de chomas, choshid la'oso davar, v'chashdin on l'meshakir. If you're a Rosha in the area of Rosha of chomas, so then you have a psul. What is the nature of your psul? You're choshid l'shakir, we're concerned that you're going to lie. B'shvil anos mamon. Umishum hachi chayshinon, and therefore, if you're a Rosh Hashanah, what's the classic Rosh Hashanah? We're both saying what the Shulchan Aruch is talking about right here: a gazlan, a guy who's stealing. Umishum hachi chayshinon shema ata ziyif v'chosam. So therefore, says the Ktos in explanation to the Shulchan Aruch, you can't approve your signature that it was what before you became a gazlan, because guess what? You're a chash meshakir. And I think just as much as you're a gazlan, you also forged the timing of the signature. And you did this, you filled this in right after you became a gazlan. We don't believe you that this is actually from the earlier date. The nature of your psul is what? Is chash meshakir. Aval, listen to the Ktos. Aval Rasha de'eno dechomas. But if you're a Rasha that's not a Rasha dechomas, afal gav de posel mitzad gzeres hakosov, even though you're posel, the ksiv al toshes Rasha eid, like Abaye told us, eino ela mitzad gzeres hakosov. It's a gzeres hakosov that passes you. It's a chaloy shem psul, kamo psul karov. The hachoshel ledavar echad eino choshel ledavar acher. The kaven de eino ela mitzad gzeres hakosov. Avalo michshod shad meshaker. Imkein areu kamo karov de lobo in hochsuk savyodo kodim shenase karov. And therefore, if this was the same case, that it was a glory that you're a karov, or you have some other psul that's not machmash shad l'shaker, you could say that your signature is actually from before you became related to this person, from before the chasana. And you could now say that the shtar is good, and we believe you, because it's only from the time that you become a psul. Where's his proof? Zoktuk tzayis hakoyshen, v'chein nire de'eno elakmo psul karavim rashu de'eno chamas, v'chein mashma rabbi Yisai midivrei anemuke Yosef. Beperek ze boirer, why? Zelishono, let's skip a little bit. V'talmuda pasuk Abaye, where we just read from in the Nemuke Yosef. Pick the next line. The library in Russia, the chamas l'Abaye, lo have a time mishum da avera ka'ovid. Ela time da Abaye mishum da Russia, hu v'rachmona pasala edus, t'chsev al toshes Russia 8. Ava ba'alma b'shari surim de lo shayach edus, da afilu eid echad kosher behem, va'afilu isha, lekel emifsa akan l'shono, umavur. What do you see from the Nemuke Yosef that we just read? Says the Ktos. The afal gav da gazlonim v'achapsonim pasal be'edus isha, afilu acha Russia de'eno chamas, if you're talking about a rishos that's not of chamas, kosher be'edus isha. Umishum de'eno chosher l'meshakir. Kamo gazlan v'chamsa nemon. Ve'in psulo ela mitzad gzeres hakosav. Kamo karov de pasla Torah. Ve'im kon resha de'eno de chamas shechosam ad shaloi nasa Russia. V'achar nasa Russia. Dino kamo chosam ad shaloi nasa chosno b'sif shachar. Says the Ktos, and the analysis that I just presented to you in the Divrei Shulchan Aruch between Gazlan and every other psul, it comes straight out of a Nemuke Yosef. That the Nemuke Yosef says what? For Eidus Isha, that what? Mishum Iguna, if a Nebuch, a person lost their husband, and a guy walks in and he's what? And he's Pasala Eidus. Unfortunately, Rabbi said we talked about in other areas, we talked about Chashid on Yichud, right, in Shirim a while back before the summer. But now we're talking about what about other Averos that a person, let's say a soldier in the army is not makbid on, and he's a Rasha. He does a Maisi Avera that gets Malchus and he's a Rasha. So would he be Neman and Eidus Isha? Yeah, it's a fair Nemuke Yosef. That's because it's what? What did the Tosfos do? He said that Nemuke Yosef was telling us something unbelievable. Abaye doesn't totally disagree with Rava. Abaye just says there are two tracks. Abaye says there's Rasha de Chamas, and then Abaye says there's Rasha de Lav de Chamas that's also Pasala Eidus, a Stam Rasha. But the nature of those psulim are not the same. And then Afkamina is going to be in areas where you don't need Eidus, like Eidus Isha, says the Ktos Achosh. If that's the Pshat, Rabbi Yisai, so now we have a new analysis in Abaye. Abaye's machloikis with Rava is what? A psul Eidus is not based on Chashash B'Shakir. It's not based on a concern that you're lying. It's based on Exeris HaKotzev, whoever's a Rasha. Any lav she'esh bo malchus is puzzle. Oh, now you want to talk about a lav she'ein bo malchus? Yeah, so if it's a Rasha de Chamas, it's also puzzle. But the other psulim of Abaye, the nature of psulim, is not a Rasha de Chamas, is not a Chashash B'Shakir. And there are two types of psulim that are found in the Torah, according to Abaye. That's the way the Nemuke Yosef learns. Problem is, in Asivis,
On a Rosh Hashanah track,
yeah,
the eighth can be retroactively possible according to.
right. That's meaning like this case of shtar.
So is there any statute of limitations on that? I mean, like, for all eternity? I mean, that's, you could.
You turn out a Gazlan.
I'm saying, what if that's a long, what if there's a long?
If-
At a certain point.
What?
I mean, by Eid Zomayim, we had that issue. Say the Luchos were not
Right.
overturned.
Right.
So,
But if it's for sure after the Maisa Avera, I don't think so.
So what happens then? So you go back and you execute it again?
Yeah, you'd have to find new Adam. Yeah.
I hope you find.
Yeah, 100%. It's a problem. Yeah. So comes along the Nesivis.
Sorry, so Allah Lamaisa, what's a, I guess I'm trying to think tangibly speaking, what's an
Gazlan.
example?
A Gazlan.
Uh-huh.
This case.
No, I'm saying, no, but the eight is a Gazlan. I'm
Right.
saying, what type of star though, what's an example of like a.
He was an 8. This Gazlan was an 8 on another star.
Right.
So now we.
Any star, could be Ksuba, anything?
100%. It's Pasaladis.
So what happens if you have Kedushin, he was an aide, and, 8 Chamas and kids, and, I mean, I presume there are other things things to rely on to say that it's a kosher.
Or to try to say that it's not a kosher marriage, which is more relevant for some rabbanim zmanas. You try to find out that one of the guys is, that's what happens. That's what they say. They find out that this wasn't a real marriage. There were an edim. That's retroactively making that there's no edus. Yeah. It's a little more complicated, but you see, it's relevant for kiddushin if you want to nullify the marriage. But okay. So the Nesivos says, in Mechilas Kvodo of the Miksos, the Nesivos comes to attack the Ksos. We'll skip into the middle of the Nesivos. In the middle of this first column, it's like 8 lines down. Upashadhu and the Ksos Paskin Mehasha Kasav and Mugez Perak Zerbar, the Rosh Hashanah Shal Chamas, to Rak Mitzak Zer Sakasat Kashalei Desisha, Uta Umua, the Mavur Yeridea, and then you skip for it's not only Mavur Yeridea, Leid Desisha, Afan Mugez and Moedaman, the Chashan Neman, Kamavur Yevamis, Bavan Ezer Simin Yed Zain. The Chol Pasal Deraisa Pasal Leid Desisha. If you look in Shulchan Aruch, says the Nesivos, in Simin Yed Zayin, which is the simin of all edus for iguna, for a woman who you want to be matir from her baal, that you don't have full-fledged edus to be matir her, so the Shulchan Aruch writes beferish that not only a gazlan, but all Rishayim, all psulei edus are puzzle to be made for such an edus. So what did the Nimuk Yosef mean? So l'chora, and this is what the Minchas Chinuch writes, all the Nimuk Yosef meant was what? It's really mashma on what he says. Let's go back to the words of the Nimuk Yosef. Avo ba'alma b'shari surim deloy shayach edus, which means what? Eidach haneman b'yisurin means your wife cooks food in the kitchen. How do you know it's kosher? She's nemon in such an area. She has nemonos. Pashtus, the right. Most Rishonim learn that the makar for that is from Nida, v'safra law. How is she nemon to say that she came back from the mikvah? Who says that it's true? V'safra law, the sugya on daf bezim and bezin gittin, right? That she has nemonos. So that's where she has nemonos in Isha, and that's where psulim are also nemon. But look in Shulchan Aruch and Siman Yud Zayin, a psul of Exeris HaKos of a Rasha, that's not kosher. That's not what the Nimuk Yosef meant, says the Nesivos. So therefore, the whole shtickle Torah of the Ktos falls away. Because anywhere that you really need edus, says the Nesivos, what? That you would be puzzle. And even a Russia, or even a Stam Russia would be puzzle, says the Nesivos. So therefore, he argues with this shtickle Torah. The Ktos missed Psak and Shulchan Aruch. Siman Yud Zayin. So if you look at the bottom of the Nesivos, we won't learn it inside, but there's a sefer called Meshaviv Nesivos. Who wrote the Meshaviv Nesivos? The Ktos. The Ktos responses to the Nesivos' taina against the Ktos HaChoshen is the Meshaviv Nesivos. So in the Meshaviv Nesivos, the Ktos answers, he says, yeah, you're right. In Shulchan Aruch and Siman Yud Zayin, it does say that lahalacha, you can't accept any Rasha, anyone who did an Avera that has Malkus, even for Edus Isha, even for Iguna. But guess what? That's all Midrabana. That was a Chumr Midrabana. But Min HaTorah, the distinction is correct, and therefore, says the Ktos, the way I read the Nimuk Yosef on a level of the Oraisa is still correct, and on a level of the Oraisa, we would really distinguish between a Rasha de Chamas and a Rasha de Lav de Chamas. And a Rasha that's not the Chamas of Abaye, that's passing all other Dinei Torah, is what? Is a Rasha of Exeris HaKosov of a Psul Guf. If this is correct, Rabbi Isai, we might have some Chidushim La'alacha. There are some poskim, like the Turev and the Shagasari, that wanted to suggest a similar analysis to what the Ktos was learning in the Nimuk Yosef, that according to Abaye, all Rishoyim are not because of a Chash Meshaker. So if that's the case, really, so what? So says the Turev, so according to Abaye, perhaps once you have two tracks, maybe the din of Nimtza Echamim Karav Apostle, when one of the Eidim are a Karav or a Psul, that only applies to a Psul Guf. It applies to someone who has a paslus But if you're someone who's just a chash meshaker, maybe you wouldn't have the halacha of nimtzeh echamim karva pasal chiddush nifla. That's only al derech this yisod that these two psulim are working different. It's not all because of chash meshaker. There's psulei guf, karov, and then there's chash meshaker, and chash meshaker works differently. Or listen to the following shaila. The Chavis Yar is the following shaila. I'm an aid. I know that I'm puzzled. Why? Because I'm a chash meshaker. I'm a Rosh Hashanah. I'm a gazla. So now I want to do tshuva. I haven't done fully tshuva, and now I know I have to give edus. I know for this edus, I speak to my Rav, I know that I'm telling the truth. But technically, I'm a gazla. So can I do it, says the Chavis Yar? Raises a shaila. Well, if you understand that you're a apostle, you're no different than all the other psulim, you're a Rasha, so then who cares whether you're telling the truth or not, or whether what you know about or not? This is not acceptable in court. You're a Rasha. We can't have you give this edus. This is unacceptable. But if you hold that no, Rasha the Chamas is a chash meshaker, and that's a different type of psul, like the Ktsos is distinguishing in terms of halacha, perhaps one could suggest, if I know that I'm correct, so perhaps there's no chash meshaker over here, and the psul won't apply. A chiddush nifla, which we don't paskin like, but it's unbelievable shayla that can only exist within the world of these two tracks. Yeah.
So how did the Nesivos read the Yosef read?
So I think the Nesivos would say he was only talking, like I think the Minchas Chinuch says this beferish. The Minchas Chinuch says all the Minchas Yosef was talking about was Erech Hanem and Bisurin, not Isha, and that would be a problem. And on a level of the Oraisa, according to this, Rabbi say, and according to this other option, what are we coming out right now? Perhaps the answer to your original question is what? Abaye doesn't totally disagree with Rava. Perhaps even Abaye holds that the nature of Psula Eidos is about what? Sheker. About Chash Meshaker. The machlokes between Abaye and Rava is who is a Chash Meshaker. And the truth is that it makes sense. Because you have to read the pasuk. What does the pasuk say? Al toshes yabcha im Rasha, liyois eid chamas. So l'chayr we have a bam raya to Rava. The Torah says liyois eid chamas. So the Yad Ramah in this Gemara has two ways of reading this pasuk ali b'da Abaye. One thing the Yad Ramah says is mile ktoni. There's a pause, there's a comma in the middle of the pasuk. Al toshes Rasha eid, comma, liyois eid chamas. There is a Rasha of a Psul Guf, a Rasha of a Nachshad Meshaker, a Rasha of Abaye Alibadak Sois, says the Yad Ramah L'choira. We see already in that first pshat of the Yad Ramah, a mocker to the way the Ksos reads in the Mukha Yosef, to say that Abaye has two tracks. You have a Rasha de Lav de Chamas in the first half of the Pasuk, and then you have Liyoy Seid Chamas in the second half of the Pasuk of a Rasha de Chamas, of a Chash Meshaker. Or, according to this new way that we're learning, no. Says the Yad Ramah, the pasuk is a giloy on each other. Al toshes Rasha Eid. By who? By the type of person that you can think has a chash that he might lie. Liyoy Seid Chamos. Such a person that you could have a chash. Rava comes from a perspective, Ma'ir v'Rabosai, that who is the person that's going to be puzzled? It's the person who cheats. It's the person who can't control himself. It's the person who gives into his taivas, a liba de the rif, and according to Rashi, it's the person who mamish cheats, a liba de Rashi. But we don't paskin like Rav Rabbi Yisai. In Chodesh Elul, we're learning Abaye. What is Abaye telling us according to this other pshat? According to the second pshat of the Yad Ramah, the way to learn this pasuk. Al toshes Rasha Eid. Who's a Rasha that's possible Eidus? Who is a Chash Meshaker, Rabbi Yisai? One who's not makbid on Anoichi Hashem Elokecha. One who doesn't value mitzvahs. One who does any avera. Such a person has no nemhonis in Yiddishkeit. Such a person is the type of person that we think will lie. You know why? Because if he doesn't have a system in place, if he doesn't value what the Rebbeinu Shalom says, so then he's not going to value being honest to other people either. What does Avimelech say to Avram Avinu? Avimelech says to Avram Avinu, I don't understand. How could you tell me that this was your sister? We're such a civilized country. Look at the metropolis that we have. Look at all these buildings. How could you say this? We have Ben Adam L'Chaveru here. We have a system. We have a system of reciprocity. We take care of each other. What does Avram Avinu answer? Yeah, you have a lot of Ben Adam L'Chaveru here. But if it's not grounded, if it's not founded, the Ben Adam L'Chaveru is not linked to Hanochi Hashem Elokecha, so then you're going to have the right drive, you're going to have the right amount, and it's going to be sheker. It's going to be Liyoi Seid Chomas. That's what Rabbi Chanan Wasserman writes in his Kovitz Ma'amorim before World War II. He says, it looks beautiful, but trust me, something's going to come down. Something's going to cause it, because Bein Adam L'Chaveiro has to be not rooted in manners, not rooted in just being good to one another, not even only sensitivity. It has to be rooted in Yiras Elokim and connected to a system of laws that Kodesh Baruch Hu instructed you. Bein Adam L'Chaveiro and Bein Adam L'Makom has to be one. That's what the Yad Ramah is telling us. The type of person that's a Rasha, that's a liar, that's a Shash B'Shaker. According to the Yad Ramah, it's all Shash B'Shaker. Everybody's not disagreeing with that. It's not two tracks. But it's all dependent on what? On the way you approach the whole system. All of the Torah. And if you would do a Ma'aser Rishus, so that shows you that you're not someone that we could rely on. L'chayra, that's what comes out of this Gemara. I have a kasha, and with this, we'll end. I really don't have an answer to this kasha. So the Gemara says, that Mumar Ochel Nevelis L'Teyavan according to Rava is possible. Anything else is kosher. Mumar Ochel Nevelis Lahachis, if he does it, what? What's Lahachis? He does it and he has no drive. It's not cheaper. It's not more enjoyable. Afal Pichen, he'll do it. I don't understand. Why isn't that a min? Why isn't that a person? Why isn't that an apikuris? Why isn't that a person that's just dino ka'akum? Right? In other areas of halacha, a person doesn't believe in the Torah mitzvahs, so he's dino kamin. Why isn't every mumar lahachis a min that's dino ka'akum? He has no drive. He has no taiva. He has no interest over here. Why isn't he dino ka'akum? Yeah.
It's just with this one area, or it's in all areas? I mean, it's just...
No, all areas.
I mean, it's saying it's eating the velos, lachas. It's not...
So why isn't that a min?
I mean,
You have no drive. So you don't believe in Torah mitzvahs.
I mean, someone who doesn't keep one mitzvah the same as someone who
Why not?
is that how you define a min?
I'm saying if you're doing it because you just reject HaKadosh Baruch Hu, you have no other
He
drive.
doesn't know better.
What?
He rejects who doesn't know
No,
better.
that's not lahachis. A person is not a tinok shenishba. Tinok shenishba would be kosher according to everyone. That's not even l'te'avo. He just doesn't know. It's a tinok shenishba. We hold that a tinok shenishba is you could even be yotzi from his
You
kiddush.
can still be lachis, even if you're tinok shenishba.
What do you mean? How?
Because you can, the way that you brought up, the way that you are...
That's not tinok shenishba. This is the debate between America and Eretz Yisrael. Mamish bizman hazeh. America, based on the Binyan Siyan, holds that all of the poskim in America usually assume, most of the poskim in America, usually assume that most of the non-from are tinok shenishbas. And therefore, you could be yotzei with their mitzvahs. The poskim in Eretz Yisrael was manazeh. Chazanish, it sounds like in the Chazanish in Ilchus Shchita that he held like the way the Binyan Siyan. The poskim in Eretz Yisrael b'zman hazeh hold it's not true. There are no tinok shenishbas. They are educated. They do know, and afal pichen they don't, and then they lose their status of a tinok shenishba. So once you know, it's a very difficult. L'chora, they have a good point because once you have some education and then you reject it, so then you're no longer a tinok shenishba. In the tshuva of the Binyan Siyan, he's talking about people that the minig used to be, this was the prevalent minig everywhere, that you used to come to shul in the morning, Shabbos morning, you used to daven Shabbos morning, and then everyone had to go to work. And that's otherwise you would lose your job. But Friday night they were making Kiddush. So the Binyan Tzion said all those people, they have a din of a Tinuk Shenishba. But they don't know any better. But that was Bisman Hazeh, that wouldn't be a Tinuk Shenishba, because people know that's wrong. The second you know that that's a problem, and then you say it, Alpha Pichen, so then you get into a question of L'Te'avon.
Yeah, I'm not sure that's a problem then.
Why?
Because, it's like you're indoctrinated in a certain way, right? You can be a doctor, you can be very well
So then it's not lahachis. Then it's not lahachis.
No, it is, because they believe that everybody's that, they have this, imaginary friend, and they are all stupid, and you do stuff leachis, and you do stuff dafka. You don't know better.
But that's not lahachis. Lahachis is against HaKadosh Baruch Hu.
No, so the leachis, so this is the definition, the agdara. Is the leachis you, leachis
No, it's not lahachis bin Adam Chavero.
It's lachis.
Yeah, the nevelas, you have nothing to do with my nevelas. It's lahachis HaKadosh Baruch Hu.
In spite of it.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's no bin Adam Chavero aspect of
So he still
nevelas.
believes, and he does it in
Yes.
spite.
Well, that's my question.
Yeah.
Isn't that a raya that he doesn't believe?
Exactly what I'm saying.
That's my question.
Yes.
Yeah.
Isn't there also an aspect in the end of the day, he's still eating it? He's still getting some sort of tail at the end of the day.
Saying it's because of nevelas. Let's say you would get no benefit at all from a certain aveira. Lachas. So you would be a min. You're saying maybe it's dafka nevelas. Interesting. Because Lamaisi is eating. So the fact that he gets some benefit. So you're saying Abai is maskim that there's a taiva here. It's just there's also lahachas. Let's say mamish I was not getting any benefit whatsoever, so then in a chanami I would then he would be a min. Interesting. Yeah.
I feel like I once heard of this, or Rakiva Eger, that I don't remember which woman, but requires Tevilo after he does tshuva, because he's sort of is like a man.
So there is one, the Rishonim at the end, in the end of Moed Katan, discuss a case that one of the Rishonim son became a Mumar, but really to Christianity, and then they made him do Gerus. It's to come back to yeah. But the question is, so what's the story over here? So what's with Abai? I mamish don't know. I don't have a good. Is there a Maisa that's lahachis? That's not that's still. You have to say something like what I'm saying, that there's something lacking in this avera, that it's not. You're not a total apikaris and you're not a total min. Mark, what do you say?
That restricts it to a case of
nevelas, right? Exactly, right. What are you going to do with averas outside of nevelas? Which l'chayra, yeah, 100%, yeah. L'chayra, the Gemara is using this as a spring word for all machlek Abai and Rava, by all Rishon. L'chayra. I don't know. I'm curious to get a pshat. If anyone has, what?
No, it's not you and me to decide that the Jew from Long Island or from upstate New York is it's up to a basin to decide, case by case. It's not from, you can say, well, we can't count these guys from, you can't. Tell me, because Achis Yisrael is in big trouble.
That's a separate kasha. How do you deal with minyanim? In terms of minyanim, the minig is to assume that these people are tinuk shenishbas and to be mitzdareth into minim. If you know too much, then you can get into trouble, and then it gets complicated. That's one child to be mitzdareth, that Rav Moshe and Rav Avadia are more noted to be makel, because you could assume that they're a tinuk shenishba. But then you get complicated shilas, which Rabbanim hate to get, when you have people that don't believe in certain parshias, and you want to give them an aliyah, right? Can you give them an aliyah? Can you give them kibudim? And let's say there's a mitzvah in that parsha that you know they don't keep. Let's say Shabbos is in that parsha. Let's say there's certain dinim that you know they don't keep is in that parsha. So you really shouldn't give them an aliyah in that parsha. These are complicated issues, but the safest is if you don't know, and is that you assume that they are on that level, and then the minig is Rav Avadia writes and Ramesha writes that you can be mishtatev them into the tzibur. That doesn't necessarily mean that they're kosher leidus. When you're going to give them a kibbut under the chuppah, you better make sure that they're not in one of these categories.